In this film, we're looking at understanding the artboards and the layout for export. Just a real kind of quick heads up on kind of getting it right. Even though that the document across here looks like it would print in the correct order or save to a PDF in the correct order, I should say. In fact, if I move the artboard layout, as we see here, out of its order, in fact I move it above, say, Artboard 5, so now it's at the top. Even though it visually looks correct, it won't save in that same way. So let's just make this from scratch, shall we? I've got a artboard here which has got a text message on, in other words a text layer, and I want to duplicate it. Quick way to be doing that, of course, the first thing, let's turn that into 1 so we can actually see what it is, and then all we're going to do is select on the artboard layer, and we're just going to hit Control J, which duplicates that layer. That is going to be our number 2. We can actually just type over the top, as you can see, and then we're going to do it three more times. So Control J, Control J, Control J. So we already know now that if we look at this, if I have the auto select layer on, I can click into the 2, double click in it, hit in the numeric 3, same thing here, double click in the next one, hit in numeric 4, double clicking on the last one, putting that into 5, and we've kind of created our first artboard documentation with it. Now, if we were going to export this one directly to a PDF, because artboard 1 is on the bottom, we would need to reverse the export. So what do I mean by that? First of all, select all of your artboards. Those are the ones that you want selected to actually save out to, and you would just go into File, and you would go into Export, and then Artboards to PDF. In this case, obviously we haven't saved the document yet. Let's give it a document name. It's 123. Technically it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, isn't it? But it would help as well if I could be bothered to spell it. Okay, now what I was on about, the first thing we need to do is to make sure we artboard content only every time we do that. Otherwise it's going to include stuff that is off the edges, like photographs. They don't actually have to exist on the artboard, because technically the artboard is a special type of layer group. It could even be referred to as a clipping container, because if I drag an image half on, it basically only shows what is available actually on the artboard itself. Back to the save of the export. Now, what I was just on about reversing the save is this reverse page order like we're seeing here. And the reason that we'd be doing that is because if we don't, it would start with the numeric 5, the layer on the top, and then coming through. Okay, so you have to click that reverse order no matter what. So once you kind of choose where the destination is going to go, basically it'll kind of save itself and things. Okay, so what happens if you think, okay, well, I actually don't want number 3 there. I actually want the scrape out of that one. I want artboard 3, in fact, where artboard 4 is, and I want artboard 5 where artboard 3 was, and things really. Okay, so we're basically moving these things around. Obviously we've kind of put them out of alignment and everything else, so if you want to make it neat, select them all like I've covered in the other films, hit the alignment on the top, and then disbursement as far as the gapping is concerned. But what we've got here though, if I just go ahead and I number the layers, or the groups I should say, in the number that they are, just so we're nice and plain, because you don't have to have the word artboard on there, but you can see now each of these artboards has a number above it. But in the way that they're still viewed, if I did the same thing, if I went now and selected all of these images and I went through File, Export, and back over to the Artboards PDF, and I didn't click this reverse page, okay, the first thing that they would do is actually save itself again with number 5 at the top of the PDF and number 1 at the bottom of the PDF. But what it doesn't take account for is the reordering of the actual pages. You have to do that in a manual way. So in other words, because number 5 is in the position of number 3, we just literally grab it, drag it just above the actual 3 as such. Let's just compress the hamburger for a minute. That's just collapse all groups. And all I'm going to do now is actually drag it between 3 and 2. And then it's correct. And then I obviously want 4 at the end. So now if I do the job with it as such, so in other words, I go and I go export as PDF. Now the first thing is, as I export in here for a minute, okay, so export Artboards to PDF, because I haven't selected all of these layer groups, I can't actually have the export selected artboards ticked. The reason being, of course, it's only got one. Now if I try and export this now, it's going to say, well, hang on a minute, the first thing is the destination. Where do we want this to go? I'll just put it into pictures. We'll just create a new folder, artboards. I'm just going to press OK. And that will actually just press run, and that is now going to actually select all of the artboards themselves, and it will save it. Because we only had the one selected, by unchecking that box it selects all the layers. Now that's done, all I've got to do is technically go and find the folder. Don't we all love it when we save things in the wrong place? There we go, that was quick. So just clicking onto that again, now in the PDF, because we did that reverse, we can see we've got 1, 2, 5, 3, 4 in exactly the way that we did it. Just while we're there, and it won't take very long. If I do the same thing again and I go File, export as PDF, yes, but I actually don't include the reverse pages, and I just give it a name to begin with this. So this is 1, 2, 3, no reverse. And if I first of all click off this export selected artboards, remember at this point if I did click run, it would only create the PDF of that numeric 4 layer type. So I'm going to uncheck that, press run again, Mark Leghorn, hit the button. Artboards is what we want, pictures, artboards somewhere, there we go, pressing OK. We gave it a name, so press run. It's going to do the run through the same things again. Now remember, you're going to have a lot more content than a text message of 1 on there. So basically it's going to take a little bit longer, but this will give you a good idea on what Photoshop has got to run through each time. So now it's done that. If I go looking for that file again, we can see it's made the 1, 2, 3 reverse PDF now, or the no reverse I should say, and you can see now what it's done. It's saved it from the actual top layer group down to here. So that's all you've got to make sure you're doing, is if you haven't selected all of the layer groups, as in here, okay, when you're exporting, make sure you don't check the select layers, otherwise it won't do it. And if you reorganize your layer artboards here, as it were, then remember to reorganize them on the actual layers kind of palette as well with it. Otherwise they're obviously not going to do their job. Hope you enjoy the film. See you next time.